Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm all in on optimization now. I don't seem to be shifting gears. So I'm just gonna go with the flow. Do what I naturally want to do, I guess. Which is optimizing stuff. So we are going to, I don't know if I want to do that first or if I want to kind of carry on from where I'm at. I had a bit more time to think about optimizing, well, sort of only really performing the nearest object scans or whatever, updating the nearest object trackers when we need to instead of constantly. And I think that is a good move. It's kind of a no-brainer. But maybe we just need to carry on from where I left off, and we'll sort of get to that eventually. How far did I get with this? Oh, I did all of the I did all of the waypoint spawning stuff now. We need to do like well, I was kind of on to these various list checks. I mean, even here, it's like we can do this once instead of twice. Some of them are more egregious than that, but I think that would be the kind of thing that I'm looking at today, is looking things up once and then storing the information instead of repeatedly looking them up. Well, that would be impossible in this scenario, I'm pretty sure, but still safe to check. Already know the age. Yeah, that's redundant to perform the age check twice. I suppose there's quite going to be a lot of small optimizations like that all over the place because things were not written optimally the first time around. Oh, it's just kind of like I feel like I should really be using my time wisely and optimizing the stuff that's going to have the biggest impact on performance first, rather than worrying about these minute details. What is an example of this? I found one yesterday and I can't remember what it is. Seems like the state condition script doesn't actually contain much stuff like this. Generally, this is probably pretty well optimized compared to some stuff. I think I need to be looking in the states themselves, probably, or maybe it was something to do with the trackers. Let's just have a look here. What is this stuff? These are the states. Do we have anything in here that desperately needs optimizing? More little things like this that can probably be slightly improved, but it's not going to make a big difference. Oh yeah, wasn't the... Oh, that was definitely one of them. That is in this state condition script. The chain pulling stuff. Wait a minute, what? Hold on a second. Why? Why are we checking the instance exists so many times? Jesus. Yep, this is before I knew how to use brackets inside, or even that you could use brackets inside of an if statement. There we go. That's pretty good. Similar thing here. Can remove that one. Yeah, I don't ever want to have to touch this stuff again. That got really confusing. Trying to like... What was I trying to do? Like, trying to make them sort of hold their position after firing an arrow. Or something like that. So that they would like... They would fire an arrow and then they would immediately like notch a second arrow and start drawing the bow again to potentially fire a second arrow. Instead of... I don't know what they would do. There would be like an interrupt as soon as their target would start fleeing or something, they would stop and start chasing it. Is that what it was? It was very complicated to figure it out. like a bunch of stuff depending on whether the target is bleeding or not. So did they actually hit it? Is it fleeing or not? Is there an arrow still in flight? And if the arrow that's in flight has passed the target, so that we, you know, because if it's past the target, then we know that they missed that shot. Just a bunch of stuff, and I can't even remember, like, but it was very confusing. Just to kind of get the right behavior. There's several things like that now where I would have to relearn how it even works if I ever wanted to change it again. So I'm just hopefully never going to have to touch that code. Well, it's good to know that most of this is actually pretty well optimized. So I'm not doing too bad, but there's definitely stuff that can be improved. I'm just not really finding it right now. It may be more minor than I thought. I think actually, we'll see. I'll just get through all this stuff real quick, but probably gonna want to actually optimize the trackers. That's the big thing. It didn't make much difference when I did it yesterday. Then again, I only did it for the humans. I didn't get around to updating it for the creatures as well, and they do quite a lot of that stuff too. But it totally makes sense. Like, why are we constantly doing those things when we don't need to? So some of them are actually it's kind of useful to do that, like constantly keeping the nearest predator up to date is pretty useful. Arguably, we could even disable that one if the predator isn't anywhere like close to the humans. Which is exactly what I did the other day before rolling it back. And it really didn't make any difference to performance, amazingly. But it's kind of like, might as well, you know, might as well do all the little optimizations, even if they don't make a big difference, just because I can, I suppose. Nice to know that your code is optimized, even if it doesn't do anything. Okay, yeah, this stuff is really not as bad as I thought. Actually, I think it's probably more likely that, well, most of these are not based on a list. The ones that are could possibly be optimized. I don't think the humans have anything like that. It's the wolves, really, the hunting party. Yeah, the thing to do here is to break this up. Not this, well, yeah, this, but we just pull out the pieces that we need from here, like, or we could even keep them all in here. And well, this one is supposed to be a universal update if I just want to update all of the trackers instantly. So yeah, we do want to keep this, but we also want like to be able to update individual trackers, like finding the nearest tree. So we just disable this one. Why couldn't I do the logs again? Because the logs are the ones where they actually search. That doesn't mean we can't do it. That means we have to do it at a different time. It's fine. We can still do that. Right? No. No, I see the point. Yeah. I'll do that. They need to keep track of the nearest log because that's what's used to determine whether they're in range of it, to find out whether they can see it or not, so that they can pick it up. So it's like we need to know which one's the nearest one before they've even seen it. The trees, we don't do that. They don't have to search for trees. They kind of automatically know where the nearest one is. Yeah. But instead of that, we want to go back to state conditions, state fell, and then so instead of instance exists nearest tree, we want to do instance exists object tree or object miracle tree. And then right before we assign our target here, clean this up. we do tracker tree update. Ah, one thing I forgot. Okay, that's great. So we just do that once, like when we need to, instead of doing it constantly. Even when nothing needs building, they don't need to chop any trees or anything. Makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? Gotta be some stuff I'm not thinking of. I don't know, I'm just gonna have to look through everything basically. Certainly in the spawn system, but that's something that only happens once at the beginning of the game. I think we probably knocked most of it out when updating the waypoint spawns, but there's gotta be some stuff. Anyway, what else can we do with these trackers? Yeah, we can't, like I say, we can't really do these. You could, for example, you could disable the log tracker as long as there is firewood in the store, for example, because they'll just take firewood from the store instead of... That's not true, no, because they also search for firewood during their downtime. That's not... Okay, so we can't do that. Yeah, basically this one we just cannot disable at all. This one is like... thing is, well, it'll update pretty damn quick, so it shouldn't slow them down too much, I guess. You could disable this one, like, as long as they have mana, basically. Right? You don't need... They don't need to be searching for mushrooms if they have mana. So... Mr. Enigma, dense? Oh my god. Jeez. I've been, saving that for, an upcoming weekend. Probably next weekend, but, jeez. I can do a quick dance. I can't really do a long one. Why does all of the music I have to listen to be 42-minute jams? What's a short one? Horn's a pretty short one. A very short one, in fact.
town, dribbled my possessions in a ring around the earth, and bought and sold my self-control for less than it was worth. Now I know the reason that I'm feeling so forlorn. I'll pick you up at 8 as usual. Listen for my horn.
That was a fun one. Okay. There we go. That's gotten the VODs muted now, but only for that short section, hopefully. Yeah, we can't really disable this tracker. We can do the same with these ones like we do with the trees, luckily. Alright, dude, thanks for the look. Take it easy. So let's go ahead and make a script for that. Oh, that's not what I was trying to do. Tracker bush update. And streams, that's a really good one actually, because everybody loves the stream. Everybody drinks from the streams, and they don't need to be constantly updating the nearest stream. They only need to do that when they're actually going to the stream. Oh yeah, that's the thing. The one exception to that is perhaps the water bearers who need to respond quickly in an emergency. And so we don't necessarily want them to take any extra time figuring out where the nearest stream is. Although it won't actually take them any time because we're updating it instantly. That's right. Right? Yeah, I'm still thinking of it as like this thing where we do it like one instance per step, but we don't. We just don't do that. So it's fine. What is this? What am I doing? Oh, I'm still doing the this one. Here we go. With controller. Thank you.
Toasty.
Thanks for the follow, Dell Laptop 69. Nice. It took me a second to figure out your name. Okay. So we can just disable this stuff now. Basically all of this can go. And no, I'm gonna be over here in this script. State forage. Well, oh, wait a minute. Isn't this another one where they spawn away? No, it's not. Huh, did I just never update that? Or no, there it is. So it's, yeah, of course. It's a script now. Yeah, this is another one where well, it's like, okay, well, we only need to be, oh, that's good, actually. That's how we can do it. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So we're not going to use a script like that. Delete that script again. So for these ones where it needs to be updated so that they can, like, see it, basically, whilst they're searching for something, we can basically only run those trackers, just turn those trackers on when they're searching for it. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So it would be as simple as state equals state foraging in this case, or state forage. And then for like the mushrooms, it would be state equals state shroom. And for the logs, it would be, there's a couple of different states, but it would be like state equals, oh crap, I deleted that by mistake. Oh no, I've done the thing again. How do I, there we go. State equals, so there's a couple of them. State firewood and state firewood downtime. Those are the two. Stop it. State equals state firewood downtime. Beautiful. So we just enable these when we need them, basically. I'm missing a bracket. Come on, give me a bracket. But there is an additional thing that we should do then, which is to, yeah, sure, we'll just keep it simple. And I just need to set nearest log and nearest log temp to nothing whenever we disable the tracker, so that when it gets re-enabled next time. Oh, I also need to reset. What do I need to do? I need to reset log check to undefined, log check undefined, and current log I think we can just set it. We don't even technically need to do this one, but we can set it to no one. There we go. So when we disable the tracker, we also clear it, essentially, so that when we re-enable it later, it starts like fresh, and we don't have any weird stuff where there's like an old thing on the tracker that might not even exist anymore, which would cause some issues. And we gotta do similar for the others. I'll be right here. The one thing you spotted it that's inefficient about this is that the non-shaman are going to be constantly updating this as well, but it's not a big deal. Still an improvement in the long run. Nearest, I think it's mushroom. And mushroom check and current mushroom. State forage. Nearest bush. Yeah. I just kind of needed a bit more time to like stew on this stuff, but we're figuring it out now. This is way better than like constantly running these trackers for no reason. And then the streams. Yeah, the streams is a big one because everybody drinks water regardless of what gift they have assigned, or even if they have no gift assigned. Huh, oh yeah, that would have got reverted too. We realized the other day that some of the stuff we don't even use the nearest hut. But we probably should. I think we should. Yeah. They select a random hut from the available huts instead of going to the nearest one. But I think we should just go for the nearest one. That makes the most sense, really. Yeah, another way you could do it is you could have their own huts assigned, basically. You know, because that's probably how it would really work, you know? Like everybody has their own tent on a camping trip, right? It's a bit odd if you all wind up in different tents every night just because it happens to be closer. But, you know, I mean, depends. Maybe Maybe that's just how you roll. So we're going to disable all of that, and we're going to go ahead and make a new script. SC tracker water update, I guess. And we'll drop in the stuff from here, this one. Don't forget to do controller with controller nope, that's not where I want to be. I want to be here. And state drink from stream and fetch water fire, fetch water and fetch water fire as well. Anything, yeah, I've got to change this as well, otherwise it's not going to work. We need to do instance exists object freshwater or instance exists object fountain, and then right before we update our whoop, no, that's not what I'm trying to do. We need to that would be really smart, wouldn't it? There's like an extra this is, yeah, a lot of this stuff was made. What am I talking about? I'm making it right now. I could change how it works so that it actually returns what we want it to. Why not? Should we just do that? That's pretty cool. That's like I'm actually using the language as intended. Let's go back and do the trees. So like if we added at the end of this script here, we do wait a minute. But this is other dot. Oh fuck! Hold on a second. No, that does make sense. Because we're in a with object tree there. Do I still need to be inside of the with controller? Yes, I want to say probably yes. How about we just don't do this? How about no? Because it's a little bit confusing just because of the way that it's set up right now. Normally, like, you're working in temporary variables inside of a script and you're passing in most of what you need, and then you use return to pass the result back out, and then you would just do like target equals, and then you would put the script in there, right, and it would assign whatever it returns to target. But we're doing it a bit in a more of a bit of a jank way because that's just how we roll. So suck it. As Midwest Magic Cleaning would say. So we're going to do trackers water update ID, and then that will return the nearest stream in this variable here. And then rather than constantly checking for the nearest stream, like constantly, we can just check it when we need to, which is smart. Wait a minute, but it still needs to check that, I guess. But we don't actually wind up targeting a stream because this is the one where the store is closer, right? Right. But whoa, wait a minute. Yeah, no, it still makes sense as long as we have one for if no streams exist. Otherwise, we're screwed, right? Do we have one of those? I mean, oh. If no streams exist, the store couldn't possibly have any water in it unless the fountain existed. At least the fountain would have to exist, right? So, no, that's not true. The player can add water to the store with Miracle Water directly. Yes, so we do need to handle for that. I would put that like, let's see. I would put it after this one. Store is empty. And duplicate this one. And this would be drink from store if store has water and inventory does not contain water, and no stream or fountain exists. You're thirsty. Instance does not exist. Fresh water. And get rid of those brackets. And instance does not exist. Fountain. But the store exists, is built, is not on fire, contains water. This is irrelevant. We're not comparing distances, and your inventory isn't full. But yeah, I guess I just never thought about that. So now they can still withdraw water from the store if no stream or fountain exists, which previously I don't think they could have done that. They could have and would have drunk from streams if the store didn't exist, but not the other way around. Let me just get my bearings straight here. Where am I? Drink from stream if store is empty and inventory does not contain water. Instance exists, object, fresh water, or instance exists, object, fountain, and update the tracker right before we set the target. Drink from stream if store is on fire and inventory does not contain water. Okay. Same again. Store is not built. Store does not exist. Boom. That's it, I think. I'm going to go back through and check. I think that works. Yeah, I think it works. Yeah, okay, that should be good. So now we only update the nearest stream right when they want to drink from the stream versus constantly updating it for no reason. That's a big improvement. And then so right. We disabled the other trackers when they're not actually in the correct state. And then we've got nearest available hut, which, I mean, let's be honest, we only really need to update that when they're entering a hut or looking for a hut to go in. Yeah, it works. Like if they're on their way to a particular hut and then it becomes full, they'll just drop back to idle and, you know, repeat the process from the beginning again and pick an available hut, or they'll just do something else if there are no available huts left. So this will be a case of just disabling this completely, making a new script. Probably should be testing at each stage here. I'm making a lot of changes, and we might just find that everything's broken by the time I'm done, and then I'm gonna have to figure it all out. But let's just hope for the best. Let's see, tracker. Huts update. Some of these should even be disabled in here, actually. Like, should it though? Yes. This one should be disabled. This one should be disabled. These ones would be kind of useful because you might be like picking them up and putting them right next to the bush that you want them to forage or whatever. That's good. Same with the trees, I suppose. No, the trees can be disabled. It would still have the same effect. That's it so far, isn't it? And then we will disable this one, but first I gotta copy it. And that's gonna go in here. And then there are several reasons that they can be entering huts. First and most obvious of which is sleeping. And yeah, as you can see, they just target a random hut as opposed to the nearest one, but I think we're going to change that to nearest hut. And all I need to do is, not that, all I need to do is tracker update hut. What the fuck is it going on? Oh, wait, no, hold on. Tracker hut update. It's just not showing up in my list for some reason. There it is. So that's that one. And then we've got sheltering, I guess. Oh yeah, this one's always a pain in the ass. Where is it? There it is. Yep. So we just, again, set this to nearest hut. This one especially, it makes sense because they're trying to get out of the rain. So they would just go for the nearest hut. State, I think it's called state shade. Yeah. We've got state warm inside, I think it's called. You've got sleeping, sheltering, warming, cooling, and giving birth. I'm pretty sure that's all of them. So state birth. Yep, they target nearest hut. Put that there. And that should be it, I'm pretty sure. Let's just go through all of the nearest huts and check they all have a tracker update before them. Looks good to me. And we have disabled the one in the step event. Oh, I missed a bit. There we go. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so already this is a big improvement. Some stuff like keeping track of the nearest predator and the nearest prey. Just kind of gonna leave that for now, because I can't think of a solution that I really like. What I did last time was we just don't run the nearest prey tracker unless there is a prey animal like sort of somewhere nearby, so that if they're really far away we know we kind of don't need to worry about them and we can just disable it. But I don't know, I'm just not, it feels like a messy solution. I'm not super happy with it. And the nearest prey tracker is pretty good already, because like only the hunters do it for one, and they only do it if they're in a hunting party, so basically they only do it when hunting as well. So it's already pretty clean. Count number of guards nearby. Yeah. And we realized like we can optimize this. Find the lowest health human. Currently we're constantly checking through all of the humans, whereas if we just put all of the injured humans on a list, then we know that we only need to try and find the lowest health human if that list is not empty. and we can just scan through the humans that are on that list instead of all of the humans. So that's obviously a lot better, but it's a little bit more involved than some of these other ones. Nearest available drum is another one that we only really need to do we have an active drums list, so with some we can do a similar thing here. Like, we don't need to be checking where the nearest active drum is if the active drums list is empty, because we know that there isn't one. So that's something we can do. Current drum. But do these both belong to the same scan? Yeah, they do. So, well, one of them's going to be removed completely, and then the other one can kind of be repurposed, which I'll just have to do some modifications to this. Right, so for now, I'm going to disable this part. Make a new script. Let's see. Tracker drum update. Technically it's available drum, right? But it's going to be a very long function name if we do that. Controller with controller. Whoops. What was I just thinking? I don't know. Oh, did I remove those checks? Right. Well, that one was always universal. What about this one? Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, I'm just gotta open another window. I think we can remove all of this stuff. Because presumably they're checking that list is not empty before entering the state anyway. Why would they be entering the state if the list was empty? And then we're gonna... That's disabled now. Then we'll go in here. State drum. And it says DS list. Huh. Well, we're gonna have to modify this then. Instance exists object drum and DS list not empty global dot available. I think it might just be global dot drums or something. Global drums. Nope, that's a DSL. What's the fucking list called? It is global drum. Oh my god. I fucked up. No. Global drum. Oh thank god. Global drums is the DS map. Global drum is the list of available drums. Okay, so as long as that list is not empty, then we can do, let's see. Object human drummer. Yeah. That kind of doesn't really make sense to do that here because they haven't even reached it yet. Oh, well, that's just how we do it though. We like assign it as soon as they've targeted it rather than when they reach it. That's weird though, because it essentially... No, it is necessary to do it that way, right? Does it say there's a couple of drums and one available drum and a couple of drummers? The first drummer targets it. They remove it from the available drums list because they're like, I'm going to play that drum. It's no longer available. And the second one comes along and then they won't be able to target it. That's basically how it works. I was just getting a bit confused. Like, what if one of them was already pathing to it and then a second one targeted it? Would they like kick the first one off? But no, it just can't work like that. Doesn't that mean that this is basically redundant then? Now I'm thinking about it. I'm pretty sure it is. It's like it's not possible for anyone else to be targeting it. Yeah. That's completely redundant. I'm pretty sure about that. No, that's not what it does. That's not what it does. But we're switching to an instant update method versus the reason we did this previously was to compensate for the fact that the tracker only got updated periodically once it had finished scanning through all of the drums at a rate of 1 drum per step. So there's potentially like potentially they could have set their nearest drum when it was still available, but by the time they finish updating the tracker it no longer is available, but they don't know that. So it's like this is our way of dealing with that. But now that we're doing this instant update method rather than having the tracker running like that in the background, we don't need to do it. And then we just target, was it? Tracker drum update ID. And that returns the nearest drum, and then we target it, and then everything just works as normal. Okay, that's that one. Well, it's not going to really make much difference because there's never that many drums for it to be a big deal, but still might as well do it. Okay, and then So there was some optimizations that we could do with the active drums and the lowest health humans that we were talking about. Guess we'll do the active drums first. I've got to make some changes to this, right? Well, basically all I need to do is remove this and this and this. And then this would all be encapsulated in a check. Global active drums. So if DS list not empty global active drums, then we do all this stuff. Else oh, maybe I should be resetting the distance on the else as well. Fuck. Okay. That's it, isn't it? And I'll just grab this. Oh, too far. And this is drum distance. No, it's active drum distance. Active drum distance. Nearest active drum. Nearest active drum temp. Drum check. And current drum. There we go. Cool. So now we're not actually going to be trying to figure out what the nearest active drum is if there aren't any active drums, which makes a lot of sense. That's it. That's basically it. Okay. I guess we're doing the lowest health human thing now. Which means we're actually going to remove it from this loop. We're going to remove it from current human because instead we're going to be scanning through a list rather than scanning through the map of all of the humans. Yeah, which would be probably more efficient for some of this other stuff as well, I guess. I mean, maybe you would still want to use maps just because they're faster than lists in this case. But it's like, why are we, for example, we're trying to find the nearest guard. and we're scanning through all of the humans, even if they're not a god, just to check if they are a god or not. Whereas if you just had a list or a map that contains all of the gods, then you could just look through them and find the nearest one. Makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? Instead, I just kind of lumped everything into this one human check, because I'm like, oh, well, I have this one loop that scans through all of the humans, so anything human related will just happen in this same loop. But it would be faster if you just scan the gods, or just the hunters, just the shaman. Yeah. So, if I really wanted to optimize this, that's what I would want to do. I'd want to compile DS maps of gods and hunters and shaman and whatever else. I think it's just those three. And use those just to scan through those specifically. Because, I mean, there isn't actually anything. Yeah, once we offload the lowest health humans onto a injured humans list, then there isn't any reason to scan through all of the humans, because we're only ever looking for the injured ones, or shaman specifically, or whatever. So yeah, this just like completely ceases to make any sense at all when we do that. So that would be the next step here. I just feel like giving it a quick test before I go any further, though. I think I'll... I suppose, seeing as the reason we're doing this is to try and improve performance, I will go to the first level instead of beginner island, and I'll run it in test mode. Maybe a slight improvement to the frame rate there, and everything appears to be working still. Carpenters are felling the trees, the hunters are hunting. They're actually going to have to get some of the tents built to see if they can, so we can see if they go inside of them, or I can make it so the tents are all automatically pre-built in test mode, so we don't have to wait. Performance seems to be about the same as it was. Maybe like a 5 FPS improvement at most. It fluctuates pretty heavily as well. Sometimes it would be like dropping to like 70, like pretty consistent 70. But this is good. I'm zoomed all the way out. I'm hitting like 140. Normally it would be like 120. That's actually pretty good. Don't know if it's just because we killed off a bunch of these wolves and now they're not doing their processing or something. Hey, Lazy Volps, or Volpez, possibly. How's it going? But I still need to do the same type of optimization for all of the animals as well. Because they all have these trackers and they're constantly updating them in the background. Although with the animals, I will admit, it's mostly tracking like other predators and prey. Which is, at the moment, something that I am opting to do constantly. Lazy Volpez, I thought it might be. Thanks for letting me know. So that will probably help as well, because we have quite a few animals in the map. So once I've optimized their trackers as well, we should be good. Oh, I haven't been paying attention. Have they been drinking from this stream? Are they drinking? Oh, no. No, I don't think that's working right now. Oh boy. The water bearers are fetching water. That's... But none of the humans seem to be... Oh no, they're going. They're going. I think I know what it is. Yeah, we had the same problem last time, actually. Basically, they're not being interrupted. So... I'm just gonna have to... Oh shit, I just got an error. What is this? Oh no. Date conditions... Distance to object isometric, nearest street. Oh, shit. Yeah. That's the problem, isn't it? Because we need to compare distances. Well, it's still more efficient to only do that when we need to. It's not great, but... GameMaker I've been using really like for about 3 years. But I did use like really old versions of GameMaker way back in high school. But I don't think that really counts because it's so different now. Yeah, because it's okay. It's okay. We can make it work, but it's just not going to be quite as efficient. But it has to be done. Oh, I didn't update the... What's it called? Fetch water and fetch water fire states. So what we need to do here is actually run this script function outside of this if statement so that we can actually compare this here. We need to have located the nearest stream before we actually enter this if statement, so... means that I can revert this to being like nearest stream. What's wrong with that? So we do that once here. And actually I'm guessing the fire stuff is probably higher up, but it will contain a gift check so that only the water bearers are doing that. So if we put that inside of... Oh wow, you've been using it since the beginning. Yeah, it's definitely come a long way. We can put that inside of the gift check. to avoid doing it on non-water bearers, basically. But yeah, okay. Do that in a second. First, I'm gonna remove all of these ones and change this back. This does not exist fresh water. Whoops. That's it. Oh, you learned programming with it. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, this is, I pretty much taught myself to program with this project as well. There we go. We update that at the beginning here, and then we can actually use it here, although we're not doing any distance checks in this case, so we don't need to do it outside of the if statement, or do we? Yeah. It's been pretty good. Yeah, they don't seem to do any distance checking. They will just choose the store. Interesting. Yeah, since the advent of fountains, though, it is possible that the fountain could be closer. So, if I really wanted to be completionist about this, I would want to check the distance between the nearest freshwater and the store, and then pick which one's closest. Which I suppose wouldn't be too difficult to do, because I can just copy the other one. Oh yeah, I'm constantly refactoring. Oh, wait a minute. What am I looking at here? Oh, this is just depositing. Oh, right. Okay, so it makes sense why I'm so far down the frickin' list. So we can just put that one there. Right, and then fetch water state. Fetch water fire. Let's have a look at this. Maybe I'm already doing it and I just like forgot. Yeah, we are. Okay, well we're all good then. We're already checking which one's closest. That's extinguishing, and then we've got withdraw water from the store if the store is closer than the stream. And then we've got fetch water from the stream if the stream is closer than the store. But what if these all require nearest stream to exist? What if it doesn't? They're kind of stuck. We need additional handling for that scenario. Oh sure, yeah, it's all running right now. I don't think we have any major issues. So we've got like 10 different biomes, I think, and so we procedurally generate these islands using Perlin noise, and we have like a tribe of autonomous humans with 10 different gifts. They all have different roles in the tribe, you know, like hunters and carpenters and foragers and stuff, and worshippers. And so far I've got like 17 miracles in the game, and 5 different creature types, bears and wolves and deer and rabbits and stuff. So you start out in like a little world like this. We're in the temperate forest. I have full sort of climate and weather simulation. There are these shrines throughout the world where you unlock miracles by sending your worshippers to unlock them. And we have build mechanics, so you like put down a foundation and then make some carpenters and they'll start building stuff, chopping the trees. And we need like fur as well, so we need hunters to get fur for us. So we make a campfire and we can make some hunters, and they're all going to the stream to drink now. Thank you. Where are the hunters? They're just getting a drink. We can make some worshippers so I can get some power to perform miracles. The hunters will hunt the animals, or they just got this deer, and they'll harvest that and bring the fur and the meat back. We can put down the rest of the foundations, like the tents for sleeping and stuff. Carpenters will keep building everything. We can make a creche for the children. Hunters are bringing in the fur. We can make some like guards to protect the tribe, and some shaman to heal people. We could have some fishers. Seems we're quite close to the ocean. I didn't make sprites for them yet. Couple of those. Couple of foragers. What are we missing? We don't have any drums. Right, drummers can be useful. Drummers give everyone like a movement speed buff. Make a drummer. Oh my god, we're under attack. Get out of there. Okay, this guy, the shaman, should heal these guys. Yeah, nice. Yeah, water bearers. We're gonna need water bearers to bring water for everyone. And also they can extinguish fires, like the tents can set on fire and stuff like that. That's just because I don't really do art stuff. I just do programming. So I need to get an artist for the project eventually. This is all just kind of placeholder stuff. My fishes are determined to get eaten by these wolves. I have enough power to make some fur, so I'll do that. Get this store built. Oh, the drummer's working. Oh, there we go. They got the store built now. I don't know if the drummers are working. Yeah, no, the drummers are working. Everyone gets this movement speed buff when the drummer is drumming. Oh yeah, I built an adaptive music system as well, but we don't have music right now for most of the levels. So like the different layers of music fade in and out depending on what's happening. Okay, that's cool. Oh, yeah, I would love to see some of your stuff. Nice. Yeah, I'm hoping to get a publishing deal eventually so I can hire some people and stuff. But that probably won't be until next year. I've got quite a lot to do still. Someone should light this fire soon, hopefully. In fact, have they even lit the fire at all yet? Concerning. Maybe it's bugged, because I've just been changing stuff. Oh, I see. Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't have a lot to show either, but hopefully when this project is finished, I can put it in my portfolio. That will probably make me a little bit more hireable if I've made a game and released it, right? Why is nobody lighting this fire? Okay, what is up with that? I think I probably know why. I think I've just forgotten to change like one line of code. I'll just make a quick save. Oh yeah, we can save and load and everything as well. We've got save hashing to protect the save files, so no, you can't cheat by modifying your save files. It won't let you load them if you do that. It's gonna be... Let me just... So I need a scenario here for if nearest stream does not exist. I don't think I can put it here because this is an else if. So I'd probably just need to put it at the beginning. What is it? Tracker water. There we go. But yeah, let me fix the other one. State firewood. Yeah, because that's... Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, no, it makes sense, doesn't it? That needs to be object log, and it's going to be the same for some of the other ones as well. But yeah, I mean, if you just want to like work on the project as a bit of a hobby project or for experience or something, yeah, I would welcome any contributions. Particularly on the art and sound side of things. There it is, that one. And then state shroom. This one needs to be object mushroom. And what's the other one? The bushes, state forage. Object bush. There we go. They couldn't do any foraging or shrooming or gathering firewood because we weren't actually updating the nearest instance until they were in this state. Because we changed it earlier so that it's like where is it? Yeah, they have to be in the foraging state before they can actually update the nearest bush. And they they couldn't get in the foraging state because they hadn't updated the nearest bush. But we should be good now. Is there anything else I might be missing? I'm not sure, but I do need to update state fetch. Right, they need to be able to still fetch water from the store. Well, maybe that would just require a modification of this. Well, yeah, we could do it that way. It would be more efficient than having a whole separate if statement. In fact, it's possible that that's what I was saying the other day actually about, what was it? All of the drink from stream stuff. Yeah, like all of the drinking stuff could probably be consolidated down into one if statement instead of having several of them, and it would be more efficient. Yeah. So I'd have to figure out what's the universal stuff here. That's this. Move the universal stuff to the top. So fire's list is not empty, the store exists, the store is built, the store is not on fire, and the store contains water. And instance exists nearest stream, but the store is closer than the nearest stream, or instance does not exist nearest stream. And now they would withdraw water from the store simply if the stream did not exist. Yeah, that works. Oh, enjoy. And yeah, well, seeing as we're on the optimization train, maybe I want to do some of this stuff that I've been talking about. I should probably grab a drink, to be honest with you. I'll be right back. Right. Oh my god. Yeah. I don't know if I even have the brain power to do this right now. feel like for one I'd need to be sitting down. It's usually quite an undertaking when I consolidate if statements like this. But as you can see, like for several of these, we're repeatedly checking the same thing, like whether the store exists, whether they're thirsty, the age check, and so on. So we could, well then, we could condense this down into 2 if statements instead of like 7 or however many we've got now. Yeah. I think this might be worse than what we were doing before, because every time they go through their state condition script, they're gonna be doing this. Not every time, but a lot of the time they're gonna be going through their state condition script, hitting this, and then updating the nearest stream. I almost wonder if the old method is better. Oh my god. I don't know, let's have a look at the performance and see. Oh, welcome back. Yeah, no worries. No worries. Yeah. See, it seems like I might be making it less optimized by doing it this way, actually. Because previously we had the distributed scanning where we were doing it constantly, but we were only doing it at a rate of 1 per step. Whereas now, it's like, now we're doing it on the tick rate plus distributed, so not all of the humans are doing it at the same time, but they are checking all of them in a single step. It's hard for me to know which one is actually faster, which way of doing it is actually faster. The performance seems okay. We've probably gained like 5 to 10 FPS or something, it looks like. it's just that, yeah, the lower priority stuff is all the way down the list. So whenever they're not doing anything, they're going to go all the way through everything, and they're going to update the nearest stream like every time they do that. So it's going to be happening quite a lot. It's not like some of the other ones are really nice because they're only going to update it when they're definitely entering that state. Like, they're only going to update the nearest tent when they're going in a tent or something like that. This one is not the same, and I almost feel like we should kind of revert it to how it was. Oh wow. Yeah, my frame rate does seem to have gone up a little bit. We seem to be getting between like 130, 140 FPS or something. I do think it's helping. That's not bad. Oh, it's back down to 120 now. It fluctuates a lot as well. It's not totally stable. Oh, it's really hard to know, actually, which is the more efficient way of doing it. I'm almost certain the old way is more efficient because it's one per step. But with 42 humans, that means it's actually 42 per step, right? Whereas the way that we're doing it right now, we've got the humans distributed across some number of ticks. However, we have like eight, I think? 8 ticks per second? Something like that. So, but it's all of them. Let's say we have 100, like 100 stream tiles in the map, and I'm pretty sure there's more than that. That would be like 800 per tick versus 42 per step. Which is obviously better. No, it is better, isn't it? We better just do it the old way. Yeah, that's why I think we should do it the old way. In this case, it was a nice idea, but unfortunately, it's just because of these distance checks. Because we need to know the nearest stream before we enter this if statement. So the old way means we just check one stream tile per step. And once we finish checking them all, then we update the nearest stream. Versus doing like every stream tile in the same step. So in this case, as far as I can tell, it's better to do it the old way. Pre-calculate it? Save it as a var. I'm not sure what you mean. What is it called? Why can't I find it? Oh, I think it is. It's nearest stream, isn't it? Nearest stream. My naming is all over the place. So if I just re-enable this, So this is the old method. We have a DS map which contains all of the stream tiles, and then we go through all of them and find the nearest one. But we go through them at a rate of 1 per step. Alright. Yeah, no, don't worry about it. I know what you mean. And the recent conversion was to DS maps instead of instance find, because instance find was slow. So this way we get much faster lookups. Maps are really useful whenever you want to scan through like all of something. Whenever you want to scan through the whole map, that's really useful. Lists are more useful if you want to like pick out a certain thing on the list or something. I don't know, not explaining it well, but maps are really good if you want to scan through the whole thing really fast. So now everybody's just constantly going to be doing this. So what we could do is like disable this tracker when they're not thirsty, for example. The only problem with that is there will be extra time. There will be a delay between when they get thirsty and when they actually go and drink, because it will take them a bit of extra time to figure out where the nearest stream is. Perhaps you would actually want to like enable this tracker once they are like below 25% thirst or something like that instead, so that it's like preemptively finding the nearest one, or like 10% or something. But it also depends, like in some maps where there are no streams and you only have one fountain, it's really fast because it's only checking one thing. So there's also that as well. But we could write rules, I guess. Yeah, you could write specific rules that make it turn on and off at different percentages depending on like what exists in the given map. Plus you don't need to worry about it at all if there is water in the store as well. There's also that. What's probably the simplest implementation? The absolute simplest implementation I can do with this is if there's no water in the store and you're thirsty, then we enable this. That would be the simplest way, right? Be like, if first of all, thirst less than or equal to 0. And instance store does not exist, because then there's definitely no water in it, because it doesn't even exist. Or instance exists store and object store dot stage less than 2. So the store exists but is not built yet. Or fuck. Well, that's the instance exists store is common to all of these following ones, or the next one as well, so we need extra brackets here. Right, so the store exists and it's not built, or it exists and it is built, but well, let's do it's on fire for one. Oh fuck, now this is common to this as well. So we need more brackets here. Or object store dot water less than or equal to 0. Right. So if you're thirsty and the store doesn't exist, or the store exists but has not been built yet, or the store exists and has been built but is on fire or doesn't contain any water, then we would enable this tracker. I think that's right. It's a good job I went with the simplest method first, right? Because if it was any more complicated than that, my head would explode. Else, and then we just need to clear everything. Yeah, when I last implemented this, I didn't think about resetting the distance, and that's obviously important, or is it? I'm pretty sure it's important, right? Yes, it is. And then we do, so we would do water distance, nearest stream temp, water check, and current water, reset all that stuff when we disable this tracker. That's one way of doing it, which is better for performance, but has the slight issue that when they become thirsty, they will take a little bit of extra time figuring out where the nearest stream is. Which would even if they weren't going to drink from the stream and they were going to drink from the store, it would still slow them down, because the way it's set up right now is that... No, that's not true, actually. The real problem with this is that they would always drink from the store. Yeah, that's the real problem with this. Shit. I don't think we can even do this. Because remember, we put that thing in where it's like, if nearest stream does not exist, always drink from the store. Well, if this tracker hasn't updated yet, then nearest stream, as far as they're concerned, doesn't exist. Yeah. So we can't even do this. Okay, so we're back to the old drawing board. I can delete that script. So there's really not much I can do to optimize this. Oh, did I... What is this? Extinguish. So we've got... Oh yeah, I added it to this one, right? Withdraw water from store if store is closer than the stream, has water and is not on fire, or no stream or fountain exists. Yeah, this is actually a lot better than the other stuff, which let's be honest, at some point I would want to consolidate down into less if statements, which I did at one point for the carpenter stuff. Like the like this one was an absolute nightmare. Look at that thing. This used to be multiple if statements, right? Which is a lot more readable in a way, but a lot less efficient. So I had to figure out how to condense it down into this monstrosity. I was able to do it, but it was a real headache. So I kind of just need to do the same thing for drinking from streams. All of the different conditions under which you should drink from the stream condensed into one single if statement. But it's not a huge deal right now, although I will want to do it eventually. So the other stuff is like, right, we realized that what we really want to do is add the individual gifts to their own DS map. And then we can scan specifically through whatever gift we want to be looking at versus scanning through all of the humans. That makes a hell of a lot of sense. Because, you know, something like Shaman, you don't usually have very many of them. You have like 2 or 3, generally. Why are we scanning through all 42 humans to figure out which one's a Shaman or not? You know, it's not very efficient. Are they going to put wood on the fire? That's one thing I'm a little bit concerned about. Because they weren't lighting the fire last time, were they? We don't want to lose any functionality in our effort to optimize things. That's certainly important. Yeah, nobody seems to be doing anything about this fire right now, which is somewhat concerning. Oh, and the interrupts as well. Oh, but we've switched it back now. Is anybody gonna light the fire? Doesn't look like it. What's up with that? I don't actually know. Thank you. Yes, yeah, I do. I actually need to work out today. I'll be doing that pretty soon. Just want to try and figure this out. Glad you like it. It's just a Chat GPT generated placeholder right now, but it does the job. Are you gonna get some firewood? Yes. Okay, so it basically seems like the chopping trees and building stuff is just taking priority over lighting the fire, which I don't really want it to. I kind of want them to prioritize lighting the fire. Generally speaking. Although lighting the fire is less important if they haven't got the store built, but even then, I just want them to I just want them to light the fire, you know? That should be top priority. Yeah, that's what this is. That's what I'm using, state machine. So it just has to be a matter of state prioritization, basically. I think they're just prioritizing, like, building over gathering firewood, which I don't want them to. Oh yeah, well, when I started out on this project, I had no idea what I was doing, so a lot of my code is very strange. I would do a lot of it very differently myself now. Yeah, this is the state condition script is the big logic thing that determines which state they should go into. And then the states themselves are all stored in here. These are like the individual states. The hunting state and stalking state and so on. And this is the thing that makes them decide what they should be doing or what state they should be in. And where is this? Line 1743. And then what about, like, felling? No, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, so felling is further down the list, which means it's lower priority than feeding the fire, or gathering firewood to feed the fire. Right? Yes. So what, something in here is actually preventing them from doing it? Maybe? I shouldn't have deleted all the comments from this. Oh well. Why do we even do any of this? I don't know. I don't know. Is any of this even necessary? Hmm. The problem is that the nearest available carpenter to the campfire doesn't exist. We've got to figure out why that is. So they can only be classed as the nearest available carpenter to the campfire if they're classed as an available carpenter in the first place, but that's pretty straightforward stuff. It's literally just this. Okay, they're all. What is it? Yeah, they're if they return to idle, they just get added back to the available carpenters list. That's it. So they definitely started out being available. State not held. I don't know why I have that on a separate if state. Oh, yeah, no, I do. It's that. Then again, shouldn't I also be clearing that? If it is held as well. Let's find human check. Oh, this isn't even using. Wait, what is this? This is still using instance find, for God's sake. We're not even using the updated method here. So that's slow. We shouldn't be using instance find anymore. We should be doing like If is undefined, human check, DS map find first, global humans. If not undefined, human check, current human equals find value humans, human check. If instance exists, current human with current human. And then here we want to do this stuff. Human check, find next humans, human check, not undefined, human check, current human equals. Current human is not a temporary variable, is it? Why would it be a temporary variable? What the hell is going on? Huh. That doesn't make any sense, right? Current. No, it does. Does it work? I think it works if it is a temporary variable. Kind of. I'm just going to make it though. Current human equals no one. Okay, current human, find value humans, human check, else, global nearest available equals nearest available. Where's the temp? We don't even have a temp? How has this even been working? Maybe that's the problem. Maybe this is the problem. I don't know. I don't think so, because it works when they don't have anything to build. It does work. Temp and distance. Oh, we don't need a temp because it's a global variable. No, I get it now. Because we offload it to the global. Right. Human check should be undefined, not 0. Yeah, okay, so this is updated to use the faster method now. It uses the DS map. That probably doesn't fix the bug though. I think the bug is something else. I'm just thinking that state not equal state held should be combined with this one so that this gets cleared if you do pick up the campfire. That's my guess. Why are we not doing this stuff on the tick as well? We should be. Good to know. They should probably have their own little script for that, but that's fine. Let's put it in there. Yeah, okay, at the beginning of the step, they should be added to the available carpenters list. And then they should go through their state conditions, and the first thing they should see is the first thing they get to, or is it? Wait, is there something? Maybe there is something higher priority. Withdraw firewood. Feed the fire if carrying firewood. No, it all seems to be in the correct order. First thing they should get to here is like, okay, the campfire. Yeah. No, the campfire is low on fuel. And that instance needs to exist. True. We have an available carpenters list again, so it would make more sense for this thing to just be looking at, rather than looping through all of the humans, just to be looking at the humans on that list. That would make more sense, right? So we probably want to convert that eventually. That's another one of those things that we want to convert, kind of. Well, it's a bit different. We could still use maps instead of lists, and it would be faster. It's just a bit more. No, it's like the same amount of work actually, but faster, so we'll do that. It doesn't explain why it's not working right now though. I am kind of curious if I just don't run in test mode though. No, it still doesn't. No, that does kind of make sense actually. Oh shit. Yeah, I think it's almost like we just can't do the distributed tracking where we like scan one instance per step, because it needs to instantly update in order to work correctly. That's my guess. But also, depending on order of operations, it still might not work, right? If all of the carpenters got processed before the campfire, then we would still have the same result. And that's kind of out of my control. Unless I was to build something, but okay. So I have a feeling if I create the campfire and then like place down the store foundation and then create the carpenters. No. Even that wouldn't give it time. How do I do it then? I need to create the campfire, then create the carpenters. That's the only scenario in which it would work. I create the campfire, then I create a carpenter, and then they will gather firewood for the campfire. And now if I place down a foundation... Right. So it basically just needs to instant update. We can't do the smart incrementation is what I call it here. We just can't do it. So basically we just strip this stuff out. Get rid of this. Get rid of all this. Get rid of... How does it work? How do we... I can't even like remember the old method of doing things. I fortunately have an example. It's a lot simpler, but I just can't... I'm so used to doing things the new way. We just basically do that. We set the distance at the beginning, and then we don't even need any of this. That is basically it. Do we need this stuff even? Don't need that, at least. So it's like if the available carpenters list is not empty and this object is not held by the player, we max out the distance, and then this needs to be with object human, so we just run this on all of the humans, and we check, are you a carpenter? Are you available? If so, we're going to compare the distance to whatever the previous distance was until we've looped through all of them, and we've ultimately come away with the shortest distance. But we do need to set that. We can just do it directly here. We just set this to global nearest available carpenter to campfire directly. And then this variable no longer even needs to exist, actually. I think that works. And we can know if I run in test mode. If I don't need to do that. If I run test mode and they immediately start gathering firewood, or one of them does, because it should be only one of them, then we know it's working. Because basically because it had to loop through like 3 or 4 carpenters or whatever, I don't think it could update fast enough to find the nearest available carpenter in time. I think that's what it was. Well, we're about to find out. We have 2 carpenters, they're both felling still. So far, same problem, and now we're being attacked by wolves. Maybe the guards will scare them away. I lost track of the carpenters. Oh, they're both there. These wolves are not helping. Wait, I thought I said to spawn on Beginner Island for this exact reason, though. No, it still doesn't work. It's almost like just because they don't become available for long enough. No, it wouldn't even be the length of time. It would be the order of operations. No, it wouldn't even be the order of operations. That would make no difference either, because either the list is empty or the list gets filled and then immediately emptied again. Doesn't matter which way around everything is processed. The list always winds up empty. So it's like the only, yeah, it's like, so we can actually put this back to how it was, which is, I guess, more efficient, kind of, but we can make it even more efficient with the changes that we've talked about. The way that everything works right now, they ain't gonna light that fire until they're done building everything, basically. Until they have some downtime. Like, you know, because they can always be chopping trees and building the frames, so they'll do that up until they get to the point where they're waiting on the hunters to provide fur, to supply them with fur. and they'll have a bit of downtime there, and that will create like a long enough window for the campfire to allocate the nearest available carpenter to go and gather some firewood. That is the only possible time that it can happen. It wouldn't be a problem if it would work if we didn't care about only allocating an individual carpenter, a single carpenter. Because the thing is, obviously, if you've got multiple carpenters, you only want one of them to go and get the firewood whilst the others keep working on whatever they're doing. That's the thing. I don't know. I think when I hit test mode, it automatically goes to temperate forest instead of beginner island, just because of the way it's set up right now. I would have to go into the developer menu and select beginner island. That's what I should have done. Yeah, so we gotta, I don't know how, I'll have to think about it. If I want them to prioritize lighting the campfire over building stuff, I'm gonna have to change how it works. That's the only option. Maybe it's simple. Maybe it's as simple as like we only allow them to assign a build target if the campfire has fuel, you know, something like that. And then they'll hang around. They won't build anything. They'll be classed as available. Hopefully for long enough to get assigned. And we would also want to take into consideration whether somebody has already been assigned. Either the campfire is low on fuel and nobody's been assigned to put fuel on the fire, or somebody's already been assigned to put fuel on the fire. Then you're allowed to target something to build, because that's the way building works. Everything hinges upon them targeting it. Like, if they have a build target, they'll build it. If we want to stop them from building, we don't want to let them target it. Or assign it to their build tracker, really. Targeting is different from the build tracker. That's how it's not, I mean, if that method works, then it's not actually that complicated, is it? We go to state conditions. We go to build targeting, which is this shit. And we say, let me just quick refresher on how this even works, right? That bit's for hunters, this bit's for carpenters from here. And then we would just say if gift equals carpenter and instance, well, first of all, instance does not exist campfire. If there is no campfire, we don't need to worry about this. For one. Then the other one is like, has something to do with the campfire fuel. Where can I find that? It's like 3,600 or something, I forget. Object campfire dot fuel less than 3,600. So if the campfire does not exist, or the campfire exists and is low on fuel, and global dot, what is it? A camp allocated carpenter is up here, isn't it? responding carpenter campfire, something like that. Don't know why it's not auto-completing now. Equals no one. So nobody. So the campfire is low on fuel, and nobody has been allocated to put fuel on the fire, or somebody's been allocated to put fuel on the fire. So the campfire doesn't exist. Wait, what am I saying? Am I saying the inverse logic of what I actually want? Hold on. If the campfire doesn't exist, you can build. That's whatever. If the campfire is low on fuel, but somebody's been allocated, no, that's actually it. Does not equal no one. Somebody's been allocated to put fuel on the fire, so you can build. No worries, no worries. That's it, actually, I think. It's just as simple as that. I don't even need these brackets. I was getting ready for a whole thing. So, but we do need brackets there, because we still want to be performing the carpenter check. That should be true for both of them. If you're a carpenter and the campfire does not exist, or the campfire does exist, is low on fuel, but somebody has been allocated to put fuel on the fire. What about if it's not low on fuel? Well, that would be the other one. Or the campfire exists and object campfire dot fuel is greater than 3,600. So it's like, if you're a carpenter and the campfire doesn't exist, you can build. Or if the campfire does exist but has fuel, you can build. Or if the campfire exists but is low on fuel, but somebody's already been allocated to put fuel on the fire, you can build. I think we're covering all of our bases there. Developer menu. Why am I going extreme? It's been really useful, like, going back and optimizing stuff, because I get to look at everything again. I'm looking over all this ancient code and realizing that, oh, none of this actually works. I should probably fix it. So it's been a really useful process. There we go. Fucking killed it. But did they both get allocated? Because if they did, I'm going to destroy something. No, they didn't. They didn't both get allocated. We have 3 carpenters. 2 of them are felling trees. 1 of them just put wood on the fire. I could fucking elbow slam through the desk. I'm so happy right now. I love it when a plan comes together. Amazing. Let's disable that debug thing. Plus we got smart incrementation running on the campfire still. I feel like I should test it more than once just to be sure. But I'm pretty sure we're good. We're good. I will just disable that first. Just want to see it in action again. That's really nice. That's a really nice change. They'll always prioritize keeping the campfire lit even when there's something to build. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, we have 3 carpenters. This one is gathering firewood whilst the other 2 are chopping trees. Amazing. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Incredible. And as we saw before, if the fire goes out again or is getting low on fuel but they still have stuff to build, they're not going to refuel it. But now they should. The one thing that we don't want to happen is that more than one carpenter gets allocated, but I don't think it should. I don't think it should. I mean, if not just for the fact that they won't be allowed to enter the firewood gathering state if somebody's already been allocated to do it. So that's kind of like a fail-safe. Yeah, I don't think it's possible for more than one carpenter to be gathering firewood at the same time, unless it's gathering firewood during downtime, which comes later. He's doing it. Oh yeah. That's so good. Yeah. Awesome. That's really nice. I love that. They keep the campfire fueled up even whilst doing all this building. Because that was the thing that really irked me before, actually. And I never really could figure out what was causing it until today. It was never as big of an issue when you're playing a normal playthrough because you don't have all of the foundations like automatically placed at the beginning like that. So it wasn't quite as bad, but still there would be these times where I'd be like, why aren't they, the fire's out, why aren't they putting fuel on the fire? And it would kind of annoy me a bit, but they won't do that anymore. I think this one's probably going. Yeah. Oh, so good. So good. Cool. Alright, now I can finally work out. Before it gets too late today. I wanted to work out like 45 minutes ago, but better late than never. Hell yeah, dudes. Hell yeah. Really pleased with that. Okay, yeah, I'll be back in like 15 minutes or something. Gonna lift some weights. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you after the break.